Hello everyone. Let us see how we can create maps on Tableau. This would also be the first proper visualization that we are making. So please make sure to spend some time and get comfortable with the interface. The first thing I want to do is to rename the sheet. Let me double click and call this Maps 01. Now there are three ways of plotting all the countries on the map. We can either right click and then add to sheet. This way the country comes in the detail and the latitude, longitude are populated automatically in the columns and the rows respectively, or latitude in rows, longitude in columns. If you want to cancel this, of course you can press Ctrl Z. The other way would be to click on the clear sheet button, which is Alt Shift Backspace, and this would also clear all the visualization, or rather all the selections from the current visualization. The other way is to double click on country and the same thing happens. And the final method is to simply drag it into the detail. As you can see, all the three methods do exactly the same thing. Double click, right click, add to sheet, or drag it into the detail. Now for this particular visualization, it doesn't matter right now which one of these three you use, but then it depends. For certain advanced visualizations that you want to create, it matters if you're dragging it into the detail or you're doing a double click. So these are the small nuances that you have to keep in mind. You can also see in the bottom left corner, it says 165 marks, which means that there are 165 countries that have been plotted on the map right now. What else can we do to format it? Now I can take my sales and we can drag it into the color. And you notice that the map changes automatically. Now it looks good, but maybe this is not what you wanted. So you notice that in the Show Me button, I have an option of switching between the symbol map and the regular map. So if I click on the symbol map, we only get a circle. And if we click on the map, we get a map like this. For now, I want to stick with the symbol map. All the circles seem very small because some of these are so small that you can't even see them properly. So now I can click on the size and we can simply move the slider and we can increase the size like this. Now the next challenge is that some of these circles are overlapping. Hence, I will click on color. You can choose any color that you want. So I'm just choosing one of the colors here. And then in the border, I will apply a border. And now you notice it looks like this. You can also click on more colors. And here you can select any color that you want. Now you also notice that there is an automatic hierarchy that has been created. The country, state, and the city have been grouped together. Now we did not do it. This happened automatically because Tableau has detected that we have three fields that all map with each other. They all relate to each other, which means that now you get a plus sign next to the country here. And if I click on that, now it breaks it down and shows me all the states. And then one more time, it shows me all the cities as well. And then of course you can zoom in and zoom out. The next thing that I would want to do is to also apply a filter. And the filter we want to apply is for the country, for example. So I'm going to select the country, right click, and then we will apply the filter by selecting Show Filter. I'll be discussing filters in much more detail in the next video, but for now we'll just apply a simple filter. So we go to Show Filter and you notice we get a filter like this. And then any country that you want, let us say India, can be selected. And then when you click on the plus sign, it shows you all the states in India like this. What are the other things that we can do with the map? Quite a lot. So this is one map and I like it. So I will right click and duplicate, and let's make maps 2. And the first thing is I want to remove my filter. So from the filters pane, you can simply select and remove it. What I would like to do now is to change the aesthetic of my map. So when I click on the map tab at the top, we have different background maps available. So you notice we have light, normal, dark, streets, outdoors, satellite. So if I select normal, that's how it looks. And I'll just quickly scroll through all the others. So next we have our dark map. Then we have our streets. We have outdoors. And then we have a satellite like this. You will notice that we also have the option for adding our own maps by WMS or Mapbox. This is not being covered right now, but I do have a video on YouTube and I will be sharing the link for that, where you can learn how to add Mapbox maps. Let's look at the controls that we have. So in the top left corner, we have the find button. So you can click on that and you can search for any location. Let us say we want to search for Germany. It zooms into that country. If you click on the plus and minus, that obviously zooms in and zooms out. Then you also have different ways of controlling the map. So I have an option to zoom into a specific area. For example, if I click and drag, then it only selects that particular area and zooms into it. The next one is my pan. When I click on pan, I can use my mouse to click on the map and move it wherever I want, like this. Of course, you can zoom in and zoom out using the mouse scroll as well. Then we have an option for the rectangular selection, the radial selection, and the lasso selection. I think most of these are self-explanatory. The rectangular selection allows me to select as a rectangle. The radial selection allows me to take a central point and then move outward to select the perimeter like this. And then finally you have the lasso selection that allows you to select something like this, which means that you can really draw your boundary and then select it. You also have the option of resetting the map. So let's say you have zoomed in, you can click on reset to come back to the original view that you had. Now imagine that you have a map like this. I just want to make a duplicate. We come back to the country level. Now let us say that you're working on the map and what you would like to do is to show the profit and the sales at the same time. So think about it. Right now in the size we have kept the sales value, but what I'm going to do very smartly is to select the profit and then keep it in the color. Now think what is happening. The size represents the sales value, which means that United States is clearly bigger than China. But if you look very carefully at the colors, they have a different picture. So if you look at Australia and China, the circle is quite similar. So you will notice that sales is 700,000, 925. But if you look at the profit, it's 150 versus 103. There's quite a big difference. Later in this course, we will also see how to do calculations and how to calculate the profit margin using the profit and the sales. But for now, we are only looking at the profit and the sales. So we have kept the profit in the color and the sales in the size. On the right side, you can also see a legend has been created. So the profit is ranging from minus 98,000 all the way up till 286,000. Needless to say, you will also be able to change the colors. So if I click on color now, I can go to edit colors and I can choose a palette. You can either select the colors manually or you can choose any of the palettes that have been given to you. For example, the orange blue diverging palette is the one that we have. And if I select something different, let's say the green blue white diverging, now it looks like this. Let me just go to the state level. This is how your map looks. So it's very important to play with the map and try different colors because the formatting is really, really important. Let's make one more duplicate. And this time, again, I want to go back to the country level. And what I would like to do is to show 3 maps for the 3 business segments that we have, which means that I'm going to select my segment and then drag it into the columns. And how cool is that? Now we have 3 different segments. You can also press F7 or click on the presentation mode to go full screen, where you can see this much more clearly like this. So this is a great way, everyone, of looking at the map. As you can see, it allows you to compare 3 segments next to each other. The biggest takeaway, since this was our first visualization, is that there is no correct way of doing it. So it is very important to keep on experimenting and do not be afraid of making mistakes. I will tell you what I mean by that. Tableau almost will never stop you from making a mistake, which means that if I, let us say, select the marks and I change it into an area, it won't really stop me from doing it. Even though if you think about it, this visualization is nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. But it won't give me an error or give me a warning telling me that maybe this is not what you want to create. So Tableau in that way is really, really flexible, which is a good thing because that allows us to be very creative in the way we do our visualization. But you also have to go through that learning curve. And it's a constant learning curve. As you learn more, you realize that there are so many more nuances to learning the software. So my one line takeaway is do not be afraid. Make sure to try as many combinations as you can. Keep on experimenting, exploring, reading, looking at what others are doing and trying to recreate it. In the next video, we will look at filters and slicers in much more detail.